Hello, I'm Kathy Canavan and I'm the principal of Jamboree Heights State School. I'm here to present to you today some information about our Bring Your Own Device program at Jamboree Heights, which is an iPad program. This is particularly relevant for parents who have students entering Year 2 next year in 2026. Of course, it would also be useful for new students to Jamboree Heights in 2026, as well as parents who have been here a while that would like to refresh what our iPad program is all about in our school. In this session, I'll be talking about the vision for teaching and learning in the iPad program at Jamboree Heights, what iPad requirements are, iPad protection, insurance and damage information, also information around specifics of how iPads are used, how to get your iPad ready for your child, and some recommended settings. We will also be giving you the core apps list next year, so you can download those ready for the start of the new school year. Also, how we organise ensuring that you've given your consent for the use of these apps with informed consent around what the risks are and how we're managing them at school. And of course, student usage of the iPads. Our school vision and mission statement is learning for life. Jamboree Heights aspires to be a collaborative, integrated community delivering excellence in education while creating lifelong learners, responsible global citizens, and champions of our own success. To ensure that our school model, Learning for Life, underpins and guides our philosophy, actions, and rationale, our mission is to develop the potential of each member of the school community by building active and creative minds while growing a sense of understanding and compassion to others. We demonstrate this commitment through genuine interactions based on integrity, understanding, consideration, and respect, encouraging excellence in teaching, learning, and leadership, working collegially to deliver high-quality outcomes for all learners, embracing difference and building on strengths within our school community, effectively collaborating and forming trusting partnerships linking school leaders, teachers, learners, parents, and caregivers, promoting a happy, healthy, thriving environment that acknowledges the shared responsibility of all members, creating global citizens with a social conscience who demonstrate ecological awareness and sustainable practices. In the Jamboree Heights iPad program, it enables the personalisation of student learning through access to rich learning outcomes. It also facilitates the development of knowledge and skills necessary for the 21st century workforce, including digital age literacy, innovation, and creative and critical thinking, communication, and high productivity. It allows continuous access to education materials, allowing learning efficiency to happen anywhere, anytime, and it provides an engaging, interactive environment for learning. It strengthens links between home and school, giving parents the opportunity to see what their child is learning at school and have timely, accurate, and quality conversations around student learning and progress. It also allows learners the opportunities to display their prior knowledge of topics and be constructive in their own learning journey. At Jamboree Heights State School, iPads support student learning, and they are the preferred mobile device in our program for 2026. This ensures the consistency of practice and compatibility of software applications. Additionally, the Department of Education systems that they've provided in our schools are most compatible with iPads. The use of iPads develop critical information literacy skills through the use of online materials. It allows for individualised learning opportunities, including differentiation, support and extension, by accessing a variety of digital tools available on an iPad. There's also access to rich media, including digital stories, images and video. It allows a high level of student engagement, both independently and collaboratively. Its functionality and compatibility in terms of an iPad across the school network and associated apps. There's networking and data sharing opportunities which facilitate collaboration between peers, teachers, and experts in a local, national, or global context. Device reliability and ease of access to technical support is most available in terms of iPads. The work we do will align with the National Digital Technologies curriculum, and it utilises the ICT, Information and Communication Technology staff experience and knowledge of iPads. On this page, you will see what the iPad requirements are for this school. All participating learners in years 2 to 6, it will require an iPad that's capable of running the latest versions of EOS and school-required apps. If your children are currently part of the program, their current device may be adequate. However, note some apps may not work and your child may not be able to fully participate in all digital opportunities. Families can make their own decisions about where and how to purchase iPads. When making a decision about model options, please consider longevity and future usage into senior primary years, as storage space can become an issue. Will I be expected to purchase a brand new iPad? I guess that depends on what operating system that the iPad you're purchasing has. Provided the storage issues are okay and they're compatible with some of the new apps and with the new EOS app in particular, you can buy a second-hand iPad, but you need to consider if that will hold for your child for the years that they're in the program. We recommend the purchase of an iPad 11th generation for functional reasons. Older models may encounter issues with EOS and app updates. iPad minis, the screen is much smaller and harder to read, and it's not really suitable for school use. The larger storage capacity, the better. 32 gig as a minimum. However, you need to consider that how often you want to be frequently cleaning up and deleting of data to make sure the iPad remains operational. You also need to consider if you're storing home photos, etc. on the iPad, that this may be difficult to allow the iPad to function. When you purchase your iPad, we would prefer that you didn't purchase one with a SIM card, or definitely a SIM card. We require that not to be inserted into the iPad. SIM cards in iPads allow external controlled internet access, and this makes it really difficult for our school filters to work, and it helps protect children from accessing inappropriate content. Devices that are SIM enabled are more expensive to purchase. Wi-Fi only models require your iPad to have internet connectivity when Wi-Fi services are available. However, you can hotspot from your personal mobile device if you want your child to have internet connectivity somewhere where you don't have Wi-Fi services available. You should consider buying a waterproof sleeve or carry bag for your child's device. There are many competitively priced cases and covers on eBay, or you could choose to purchase it from a local store. Please make sure you check any sizing of the sleeve or bag with the iPad you've purchased to ensure it fits. I highly recommend a strong case that provides protection to the front and back of the iPad and to the camera apertures on the iPad. Good screen protectors and good cases are great to add to the longevity of your child's device. Expensive repairs to screens and iPads themselves and camera apertures aren't usually necessary if you've got a good heavy-duty cover and screen protector. A compatible stylus is optional but can be very useful. Please ensure these are clearly named and identifiable if misplaced or lost. In terms of headphones, we recommend students use DJ-style volume restricted over-the-ear headphones. These reduce the decibels to a safe level and ensure the children can hear what's going on around them and normal conversations. Please be aware not to buy anything that requires charging. Some of the Bluetooth headphones require charging, so it is preferable that these not be purchased. iPads need to be brought to school fully charged. You don't need to send your child's power supply to school. The school will not have a number of iPad power supplies to charge the iPad in the event of a battery being depleted, but sometimes that can be too many to service. So therefore, we would hope that it'd be part of your family's routine to regularly charge the iPad. In terms of internet use at school, there will be a memorandum of understanding that you have been sent, which shows that you and your child agreed to the terms and conditions of our iPad program. This includes that internet access will be used appropriately. However, our Queensland Managed Internet Service will generally provide students with content-filtered internet access, virus-filtered email, and school website hosting. So it would be unlikely that they will be able to access inappropriate content. We value using restrictions and time limits on your child's iPad. However, if these can be removed between 9 and 3 on school days, as this allows access to key sites for learning. Parents can share restriction passwords with teachers should they need to use them. iPads can be configured to connect to a home wireless or wired network. This configuration can be performed as with a normal iPad. While at Jamboree Heights State School, learners in upper year levels may have access to a Department of Education login email account, which they can access from home and school for the purposes of learning. This email is monitored for inappropriate use, content and language, and generally this wouldn't happen until the upper years of schooling. Getting your iPad ready. A passcode known to the parent carer is required to be placed on the learner's iPad. Teachers collect those learner passwords at the start of the year in the event a learner forgets them, which can be highly likely. Your lock screen and wallpaper, we ask that your child's image at the beginning of the school year will appear as your child's wallpaper background, as well as on their lock screen. This ensures that any misplaced iPad is easily identifiable. It also creates a standardised format which supports the idea that iPads at school are an educational tool only. Please ensure your child's iPad is set up with their name and class, e.g. John C. 4J. And you can do that from the settings. Also, create your own child's Apple ID. This ensures other family members' work, apps, photos and messages don't sync with your child's device. This can be done through the Apple's family sharing option. Family sharing makes it easy for up to 6 people in your family to share each other's iTunes, books and App Store purchases without sharing accounts. Parents are automatically prompted to approve or decline any purchases children make straight from their own device. However, they will not be making purchases from their device at school. We have lots of help materials to assist you in setting up family sharing. You will You and your child will receive a memorandum of understanding, which is a checklist that you and your child work through prior to them bringing their iPad to school. And this will be sent and signed off this year and annually every year thereafter. You will receive a notification through Q Parents to complete this electronically. Within the first week of school, your child's teacher will go through this contract and have all students sign a hard copy for their file at school. These will be referred to as necessary throughout the year. Learners will not be permitted to use their iPad at school until this contract is signed. This outlines the expectations that we have for how iPads are used at school. At times, children use iPads at home, which impact on the operations and well-being of other learners at school. For example, cyberbullying sometimes happens in chats. Sometimes children have accessed inappropriate content at home that remains on their device at school. Therefore, the memorandum of understanding that you sign with your child is a commitment to ensuring that cyberbullying does not occur at home or at school, and that the content accessed is appropriate in nature. On the school's website and linked to this presentation, you will find the core apps list for each year level in the school. These apps have all been departmentally risk reviewed, and we share with you via informed consent that how we manage the risks around these apps at school. We do not use any apps that have not been departmentally reviewed. During the course of the year, as apps are released that are departmentally risk reviewed, we may ask during the course of the year for you to download them to your device. Meantime, we'd ask that this list of apps that are linked to this page are downloaded to commence the year. You will sign the third-party website permissions for them through Q Parents, where we will outline the risks associated and how the school is managing these risks going forward. The use of web-based educational resources has risen steadily over the last decade. Teachers are increasingly using these resources across Queensland to improve student learning outcomes. At Jamboree Heights, our school and teachers make decisions about the best technology to meet the needs of our students. While the department provides most of the resourcing we use at school, sometimes a need exists that is not included. On these occasions, it's beneficial for students to utilise services provided by third-party web-based providers. Jamboree Heights State School wishes to utilise some third-party web-based service providers at times to aid student learning. These are private companies that are hosted onshore in Australia or outside of Australia. Outside of Australia means that data that is entered to register for these sites will be stored on services that are not based in Australia and therefore are not bound by Queensland's privacy laws. We need your permission for the registration and use of these sites by your child, and you will receive, as mentioned previously, an online third-party consent form, which will be emailed to new families at the start of the year. In fact, it will be emailed to all families every year to ensure your child has access to these sites for learning. This consent will be informed, as mentioned previously, by information about how the school manages any potential risks based on departmental risk reviews. It's not compulsory for you to provide this consent. If you decide not to provide consent, this will not adversely affect academic achievement or any relationships with teachers or the school. However, given the significance that some of these services provide, we would suggest contacting the school to discuss this further if you do not provide a response. We'd also ask that any of the school apps that we've outlined that we require be on your child's home screen, and that any other items used for home are in a locked folder on another screen away from the home screen. This allows your child to see that when your child's iPad is at school, it is a school iPad with only school iPads, school apps accessible. This really sends the message of the purpose of iPads at Jamboree Heights State School. Digital literacy refers to the skills needed to live, learn and work in a society where communication and access to information is dominated by digital technologies like iPads. However, the benefits brought about through these diverse technologies can be easily overshadowed at school or at home by deliberate misuse, which harms others or disrupts learning. Jamboree Heights State School has determined that the explicit teaching of responsible use of iPads and other devices is a critical component of digital literacy. The knowledge and confidence to navigate and use these technologies safely while developing digital literacy is a responsibility shared between parents, school staff, and students. While our school uses technology to leverage learning, there are times when the use of technology is not required. This is at the discretion of the school staff and is considered in their planning process. Our school does not use mobile phones as part of our learning program. It is also agreed that time and space should be provided at school where technology is not used and not permitted, and students are encouraged to engage in other social learning and developmental activities. At Jamboree Heights State School, in Year 2, iPads are used approximately 25% of the time and gradually transitions through the year levels to approximately 75% of learning time in Year 6 prior to the Year 6s heading into high school. The responsibilities for learners using iPads or other devices at school or during school activities are outlined in our Memorandum of Understanding. These acceptable and unacceptable conditions are aligned with our Memorandum of Understanding, which learners and parents agree to at the beginning of each year. Teachers in our school regularly use the Classroom app, which links student devices to teachers to support teacher monitoring of learner engagement in ensuring that the child is on the particular app that the teacher has asked them to be. I will share with you now some acceptable and unacceptable behaviours for which learners and their parents will discuss as part of the Memorandum of Understanding each year. It is acceptable for learners at Jamboree Heights State School to use iPads or other devices in the following ways: assigned classwork and assignments set by teachers, developing appropriate literacy, communication and information skills, authoring text, artwork, audio and visual material for publication on the intranet or internet for educational purposes, as supervised and approved by the school, conducting general research for school activities and projects, communicating or collaborating with other learners, teachers, parents or experts in relation to schoolwork, accessing online references such as dictionaries, encyclopedias, etc., researching and learning through the department's e-learning environment. Be courteous, considerate and respectful of others when using a device. Seek teacher approval where they wish to use a device under special circumstances. Store their iPad in the classroom as per their teacher's direction or in their school bag before and after school when they're not in use. Bring mobile phones to school, but these are switched off and handed into the office upon arrival at school and are to be collected from the office after 3 p.m. The school will maintain an effective storage facility. It is unacceptable, however, for learners at Jamboree Heights State School to share unique usernames or unique passwords with other individuals. Access an iPad or other technologies using another learner's or staff member's username or password. Use an iPad, mobile phone or other devices in an unlawful manner. Ignore teacher directions for the use of their device. Download, distribute or publish offensive messages or pictures at home or at school. Use obscene, inflammatory, racist, discriminatory or derogatory language. Use language or threats of violence that may amount to bullying and harassment or even stalking, such as insulting, harassing or attacking others, or using obscene or abusive language. Deliberately waste internal internet resources, damage computers, printers or network equipment. commit plagiarism or violate copyright laws. Use any messaging, non-educational games or social media platforms whilst at school. Knowingly download viruses or other programs capable of breaching the department's network security. Use device cameras anywhere a normal camera would not be used and regarded as inappropriate, such as change rooms, toilets, etc. Take photographs, still or moving images of anyone without permission, or sound record anyone without their permission. Invade someone's privacy by recording personal information or activities and distributing or uploading of this material. This concludes the presentation today. There will be another presentation that will cover off on some of the parental controls and things parents can use to ensure that they maintain a safe internet environment for their children at home. There will be another session on Thursday night at 6 p.m. for 30 minutes for anyone that would like to ask any questions. So please feel free to join us via the Microsoft link that's been shared, Microsoft Teams link that's been shared. Thank you for your attention. I will also send this presentation as a PDF so that you may click on some of the links to assist you with links back to the core apps list, to family sharing, etc. Thank you.